Hey, this is Sean with Frantic Fishing. Today we're going to go over how to install the Outlaw Shorty. We're going to start with the mounting brackets. So first off, here's my test platform, Ranger 522VX sandwich plate adapter. We will be demonstrating how it goes on. This boat does not have a jack plate, nor does it have power poles, raptors, or talons on it. So with that being said, let's start off. So the first bracket you would put on, this is your sandwich plate adapter. This goes in between the engine and the transom. In through here, you can see this is installed. This height right here, you shoot for the same height as your transom. After you put both sides of these on, and there's instructions, written instructions to put these on in the packet, we are going to put our bracket on. Here's our bracket, just like installed here. You got two holes here, it goes on, and it will sit similar like this. It's got two 1/2-inch bolts inside here, hardware is included. When you purchase this, this becomes all assembled, tightened, red Loctite, all good to go. If you have a jack plate, this is the jack plate bracket. Got the two slots in it. You've either got 2 or 3 bolts on your jack plate. You will remove those bolts. You will install this on here. As you can see, the slots. If you have an Atlas jack plate, you're going to have to drill holes in it. And we'll give you the hardware for that. It's very similar like this. It's been machined on this edge so it can fit in that rounded part of the Atlas jack plate. After that, here is the original prototype of the Minn Kota talon bracket. This would bolt in front of your talon. It's been slotted on the bottom so you don't have to remove your whole talon. You loosen the bolts up. Make sure your bolts are 1/2 inch longer than what they are on the boat now, or you'll have to purchase new ones because I don't know what size they are. So you're going to put this on. Once these brackets are all in, you're going to test fit your vertical upright. And what I mean is, here's your vertical bar. This all comes pre-assembled. So all I'm going to do, you can see the tube. I'm going to slide it in there. And I got this handy clamp lever right here. I'm just going to tighten that up. I want this on my boat to be vertical, to be level and plumb. So by doing that, I put a level on the front of the boat so that you could, however your boat sits in the water with you in the front or you and your partner, or how it depends. We'll go over that in a minute, but anyways, so now it's like that. You have a pin to lock everything in because you don't want to rely just on this clamp lever right here. In here, there's a hole. This has already been pre-drilled for this boat. And when you lock that down like that, this thing ain't going nowhere, okay? So when you get yours, this hole right here in the round tube has not been installed because I don't know what angle your boat sits at. So for example, if everything sat like on a jack plate, these would sit like this. To me, that is the wrong angle of having your brakes in the water. So level your boat, or however it sits in the water when you're in it. You can take just a regular level, you can take a protractor, you can take a digital level, however you want to do it. We'll show you that in a bit. So if you say that's your desired angle right there, okay? Included in the kit's a 10mm drill bit. on the 3-inch tube, it's already been drilled top and bottom on the 3-inch tube. So you can set your angle, backing up one step. Between these two tubes right here, you don't want those tight. You want a little bit of gap so if you have to rotate these, but they don't rub. This is less than 1/8 of an inch. Call this a 1/16. I would put a little spacer between there. Get your angle, set it, get it exactly where you want. Drill your top hole, because you can use the 10mm hole here to guide you for the top hole. If your boat has enough space in here, instead of trying to drill all the way through and hit all your areas, you can do this. After you drill your hole, take this, install it upside down, take your pin and put it in the bottom. That will get you guided up. So, back this pin off so the drill bit doesn't hit. Now you can drill this hole, and now both your holes are done. After that's done, now you can put your pin out. Put your pin, bring this up, okay, and that would go all the way through. Tighten that up. It's solid, okay? So now that you do this on both sides. Now that this part's done, we want to install the trolling motor on here. So with that being said, install your kickstand. You might have to cut it to length. They come at a certain length. Roll it over. Tighten it up. After you tighten it up, this lower bracket has to be lowered down or you can't install your trolling motor. So, kind of jumping around a little bit, you would have to, so what I would do after this point here, I'd stop on the installation and I would start installing your wiring for your lifter kit. So this is your wiring harness, remote box. This raises your trolling motors up and down. That's all it does. It does not make your trolling motors turn, it just goes up and down. So by that, so say this is installed. We'll talk more about this in a minute. Lower this down till it clears. Turn it on its side. Now you're going to install your trolling motor. Your trolling motor is all put together except for your prop's not on, and your prop don't have to be on for this. Here's your blocks and here's your rail. Pretend like this is the railroad tracks and this is a railroad car. Put some tape here so you don't scratch any of your powder coat. You're going to slide this on and it just slides right in there. Get it up so far and you've got 1/4-inch bolts, and these are your collars. They look very similar to these Stockman coated collars. Rotate this level, slide this in, and line your holes up. And install your clamp levers, your clamps. As you want this this is gonna be between a 1/16 of an eighth or an eighth of an inch. Just push that all the way up till it almost touches. Take and tighten these up. Your trolling motor ain't going nowhere now. You can put this in the vertical position. Tighten your clamp lever. That trolling motor is ready to go. We'll raise it and then we'll deploy it. So there it is, that's how it sits. Like I said, you want your brackets so they're flush with your transom, okay? Because you're trying to keep this propeller out of the mud line. Because when you get on pad, you don't want these dragging. And this boat here, the way it sits, does not drag. So, we'll talk more about the wiring. Obviously, this is the wire for your actuator. These are your trolling motor wires, and they are going to all go into the boat. We'll start with the wiring in a minute. I'm going to show you a couple things that you might need. You will get a spring removal tool. Say for some reason you hit such a large stump or tree or brush pile that you damage a spring. You're going to get 2 spare springs in your kit. The other ones will be available for purchase. To change your spring, you do one at a time. Take this kit, take this tool, you pull, take it out, take your spring off. You put your new spring in. It's just the opposite. That's how you change a spring if need to be. There's a spare rubber pad because down in here when these open and they close, you don't want metal on metal. There's a rubber pad that it goes against so it doesn't make a bunch of noise on there. So this is how it will look. Your kit will have stainless steel hinges. This was a prototype and it didn't make it. So these are the 2 wires you have to run through your rigging tube. And on this Ranger, it is on the starboard side of the boat, the right side of the boat. Some boats have them on the left or the port side like a tracker. There is an extra extension wire for your lifter wiring. And you're just going to put that on whatever side of the boat is furthest away to go on there. So we're going to start going over the wiring and then we're going to go over the juice box so you guys can understand how the juice box works and how simple it really is to install. All right, I'm going to change cameras up a little bit, so bear with me. Okay. So in my 522, there's my juice box installed, okay? And for the lifter, there's the remote box, and there's the breaker for it. They all, on my boat, they all go off the 12-volt starting battery. Plenty of juice in there. So you would install your wiring harness. Negative, positive, 12 volt. This is only a 12 volt system. If you run it on any higher than say 14 volts on a lithium, I don't know what's going to happen to your trolling motors. So you'd install this. You get 2 key fobs. So you have 2 key fobs to raise it and lower it. Okay. On the juice box over there, you can see those gray connectors. Those are Anderson style connectors. They just snap together. So that's the wiring harness. You can see the quick connects for there for the lifter wiring. Now we're going to go over the juice box. Bear with me, I'm doing this solo with no other help. All right. So this is the juice box. It's got, here's your leads for your positive and negative for your battery. Here's your trolling motor wires. And this black little wire is your signal wire that goes from the back of the boat to the front of the boat. So you're gonna mount this in the compartment, dry area. This is your breaker. You're gonna have an 80 amp breaker. These 2 leads go to the battery. Now, I advise you put it on your starting battery, not on one of your trolling motor batteries. That's up to you. I have too many customers call and complain and say their batteries are dead or whatever. So, with that being said, we're going to move forward. So, you will pull this signal wire, which I laid out on the deck, from the back of the boat to the front. It is over 25 feet long, so it should cover you with everything. So here's all the wire. As you can see, it's all coiled up the extra. This is a 6-pin connector. So you're just pulling this. You're not pulling the front harness in. You're gonna bring that from the front back. As you can see on mine, there's my speed controller. I have a dual stomp switch. This is a prototype. I've got another style available that is additional option. And all you're doing is running those in through your bow over, okay? So it has a quick connect, a 6-pin here, and this goes up to your speed controller. This speed controller has a switch on the side. That's reverse, that's in the middle is off, and that's forward. And the speed controller goes from 0 to 100%. Here is the stomp switch. This is a movable style, on and off. Here's what I was talking about when you're doing your brackets. Just throw a level on there. This is how my boat sits in the water, just like this. So this is the wiring. So if you can pull this wire, the wire is a 1/4 of an inch. This is the biggest part. I'm gonna say this is 5/8 of an inch in diameter. And this just mounts to the gimbal knob of one of your graphs. I got a dual mount here. That's my map. This is my Garmin 1643, and I just prefer to have my speed controller right there. Like I said, I've got forward and reverse on the floor instead of a switch. So that's kind of a rundown of that with the wiring. To go over it again, this is the wiring for your lifter. The lifter is your electric actuators. They are actually mounted inside this tube, so you don't ever see the actual motor part on there, just the shaft when it's fully deployed. Let's deploy that. So fully deployed. And that's how it goes. So, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you purchase this and having issues, please call me, email me. and we will make sure everything works correctly on there. We've done a lot of R&D on here and, you know, testing. This is the rail. If you're wondering about what these red tape marks are for, so when I look back at the boat, I know if my brakes are up or down. You will get a little decal, a little sticker for your graph asking you where your brakes at. Are they up or down? Or you can do what I do. When I deploy my brakes, I throw my keys right there. So I know that I have to pick my keys up before I take off. Because the only thing that breaks those actuators is leaving them down in the water. If you leave them down and take off like this, those springs are going to take a beating or possibly break. I've had customers with the original Outlaw that used the stock Minn Kota bracket like these, and they break the T-bar. But what else happens too, because you can see the graveyard over there, those stainless steel shafts are actually bent. When they bent, they would still operate for a while, but since they were bent, they were putting undue stress on the motor. The motor was drawing more amps. The motor eventually dies. The motor is that bigger part right there. And when they blow up, they're no good. Those motors are $250 a piece. So, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. This was my first full length. I hope I did okay for you guys. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. And we're out.